Hey everyone, so I just got back from a little road trip, and oh boy do I have an interesting story for you. Some of you may be aware of the fact that over the last 4 or 5 months, migrants have been pouring across the Canadian border illegally, mostly in the wake of Justin Trudeau virtue signaling and sending an invitation to all the refugees across the world through Twitter that Canada will accept them. However, over the last bit, the sheer amount of people coming over and the fact that most are not refugees at all has forced Trudeau to backtrack a little and say, well, we're a country of laws and this kind of needs to stop because it's getting ridiculous. So I decided to see for myself if there are actually any efforts going on to deter this and, well, what's actually going on at the Roxham Road crossing to Quebec, one of the highest trafficked areas. And this whole adventure starts with not much luck on the first try.
Is there a place we can park somewhere? Is there a place we can park?
Park for what?
Just to get out and to hang out for a second?
Hang out for what?
Are we allowed to be around here?
Oh no, just to chill. We just got over and we've had a long drive, so we just want to get some air.
Over there to chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why can't we go down this road?
It's closed now.
It's just closed?
Yeah.
Sorry, yes.
It is closed.
Okay.
We're just curious.
Yeah, there's construction.
Construction?
Asphalt. You want to see asphalt?
Okay.
No.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
You better go to Pax Safari. There's something.
All right, thank you.
There's attraction.
Merci.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Yeah, so we tried to get to the end of Roxham Road where they've got a 24-hour processing center for the Haitians coming in, and the cops just told us, oh, it's just construction, So let's see if we can get there another way. They've got a ton of police there, even parked in the, on the grass of the houses nearby. It's really strange.
Just some construction that you need 10 police officers to oversee. Seems legit, guys. But we decided not to stop there, so we tried again, this time letting the police know we knew what was going on, and, well, we were told we still couldn't see it and to call the RCMP head office for some answers. We were a little bummed out, but before we left, we actually got a chance to speak with one of the residents there. He was a fairly liberal fellow, but he actually gave us some fascinating information.
So you live around this area?
Yeah.
Where they've got the processing center?
They're doing construction there, which is why we can't go down there.
Oh,
but we
right
also
now,
see 10
sure.
10 cops, 10
Yeah,
border
yeah,
patrols. So it seems curious.
Well, this is the road where they all cross.
Gotcha.
Really.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, they can't cross at the main border crossing because of the Safe Third Country Agreement that I assume you know about.
Yeah.
So they have to cross, quote unquote, illegally. So they come here, they come across, and they're arrested, nominally arrested. They do a little background check, then they take them over to the border station at Laval, and they process them there.
Okay, and then they can be here legally and go into kind of...
Legally in the sense that they make a formal refugee claim. Once they make a refugee claim, then all the standard stuff kicks in. Here in Canada, are you Canadian, you guys?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, once you've made a refugee claim, you have a right to health care, you have a right to basic welfare, you can send your kids to school, and so on and so forth.
Right.
The time that the claim is being processed.
And how many people would you say are coming in here usually?
We were doing some actually volunteer work at the border, giving out meals and stuff a few weeks ago. It got to the point where there was 600 a day coming across.
600 a day?
Yeah.
How many days consistently would you say there were 600?
I don't know. There was, the numbers were up to like 2,500 or something over the month or something.
Over the month?
Yeah. I don't know the exact figures.
I gotcha.
They've checked with CVSA for that.
Where have the majority of the people have been from?
It's hearsay. But, when we were there, it was primarily Haiti at that point.
Right. Haiti.
But,
Right. Interesting. And are Haitians being accepted mostly for refugee status here?
No.
No?
Between half and 2/3 of the claims are rejected.
And where are they sent after that?
They're deported back to Haiti.
Back to Haiti.
Or they're told, you can't stay here. They can leave on their own for somewhere else if they choose, or else they wait until they actually get deported.
Okay, so a lot of them are kind of waiting here right now.
A lot of them, the refugee claim takes a long time, right? You make a claim today, you've got probably a year and a half till...
A year and a half, wow.
Yeah.
And do they get any services or anything?
Well, that's what I say. As soon as you make a claim, once you've made a claim, right to welfare services, healthcare, and so on.
So once they've made the claim, they've at least got a year and some bit.
That's right. That's
services from the government. Okay.
That's right. 600 people a day coming over. Just one border crossing in Canada. And they're just getting taxied to a proper border crossing immediately after arriving, where they will apply for asylum and won't be processed for likely around a year and a half. A year and a half in which they will have the full benefits of Canadian citizens: healthcare, education entitlement, welfare, housing, the whole package. Now, with Quebec already being strained on resources, you might be wondering where they were sending all these 600 people coming over every single day. Well, one of the locations was an Olympic stadium in Montreal, and we had to go to Montreal to speak to the RCMP anyway, so we decided to pick our stuff up and check that out. And despite my tax dollars paying for all this, we weren't able to speak to a single person there. The Red Cross wouldn't talk to us, there were no local government representatives we could speak to, we couldn't go inside. Even the people staying there didn't want to talk unless the camera was off. Luckily, I did manage to get some information off camera that they are currently in the process of picking up and moving everyone in this location to a new one. Here's some photos of the inside of the stadium as it's being emptied out. It used to have over 1,000 people staying here, and now there's just under 600. Guesses were that the next location would be a school or a hospital, but nothing is certain. Everything about this migrant crisis is kept very quiet by the government. But luckily, one wing of the government was still willing to talk with us, and that was the RCMP. And the officer that we spoke to made it quite clear that he could only comment on exact operations at Roxham Road, and the rest was pretty much classified information. But I will applaud the RCMP communications for at least being open to chat. Here's some of the information we got from them.
What's going on at the border? People think they can cross anywhere between two ports of entry, but when this happens, we know about this because we have electronic detection, we have cameras. We talk to our colleagues from USA. So we talk to USBP, but we have good collaboration. So when somebody is coming toward our border, they call us, they talk to us about what's going on so we can intercept them. But again, which is very particular in Roxham Road, is that they all come to one point, so we know we can catch them there. But we still do a surveillance of the border, obviously.
Of course. When did this begin? Like, how long ago has this bigger influx of mostly Haitians and individuals fleeing the U.S.?
I would say this spring. I don't have the exact moment, but there was a trend after Christmas in the spring. Yeah, there were more people coming from Haitians coming from USA and or Haiti coming toward our borders.
And are the numbers growing right now in the amount of people coming?
There were some big numbers. In July, there were 2,996 arrests at Roxham Road.
Just Roxham Road?
Just Roxham Road within that month. And we do have some numbers for the first 2 weeks of August, 3,700 interceptions. So that's quite a big number. So
that's for the first 2 or 3 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks of August, 3,000. Wow. Mm-hmm. Do you expect that to rise?
We don't speculate on what's going on. Anything can change in the world. It could be bad weather, it could be a catastrophe, it could be politics. We observe every day what's going on, but we don't speculate about what is coming, maybe in the future.
Yeah, over 3,000 people in the first 2 weeks of this month, over just one illegal border crossing. So where is this headed, especially with Trudeau seemingly wanting to crack down on this? Well, we decided to check back one more time at Roxham Road to see if their construction was done. And it actually turns out they weren't being entirely dishonest, because they were literally paving the red carpet for migrants to come in. They needed to make it easier to drive their buses and luggage out of this area, so screw the potholes in the taxpayers' roads. We've got some illegal migrants to transport. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. They'd basically set up a totally comfortable backdoor into Canada. The whole illegal thing and arresting people thing, all for show. You've got some nice seats, a tent, washrooms, buses, and cops to carry your luggage. Now, maybe they've just been through a long trek through the woods, spent a night sleeping on a mossy rock, and just made it out to this point, so the cops want to at least make it a tiny rest spot. Well, we decided to check out the American side, and it's literally like 5 steps to get to this perfectly comfortable processing center. That's right, I'm in America now. Now I'm in Canada. Now I'm in America. So welcome to Canada's extremely secure border made up of cones and a small metal bar that can be moved to the side by a 5-year-old. The reality is there is no effort by the Canadian government to stop this. In fact, quite the opposite. They are facilitating it. The only effort going on is to cover it up, to put bags into normal-looking cars, to set up this whole back entrance for show, when they're just going to be immediately driven to the main border crossing. They're refusing media interviews at almost every turn, and people aren't allowed to see the inside of these migrant operations. If you're going to be kicked out of the States for overstaying your welcome, for coming illegally, or because your refugee status is up, why the hell would you not just take a taxi to Roxham Road, take a 2-second walk, and get at the very least a 1.5 years of free stuff while you're waiting for your application to be processed? Where is the disincentive? Where is Trudeau trying to enforce the law? I mean, it's insanity. And it's not to say I don't feel bad for some of these people. I mean, I was just talking to 2 young people who had just crossed and they seemed like normal Americans, but they had been living in the US for 17 years and just reapplying for some sort of refugee status every 18 months. And they told me that not once had they even looked into, let alone applied to become legal citizens. So it's really hard to feel bad after this point, especially when legitimate refugees are now being put on the back burner because of this influx of illegal non-refugees. And more importantly, when Canadians are being put on the back burner because of this. When Canadian tax dollars are funding the stay of people who don't respect our laws and our processes to citizenship. It's unacceptable, and I'd encourage more people to look into this and start calling out the Liberal government in Canada for their irresponsibility. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video and for your support, and be sure to hit like and share. I'll see you next time.